the time since you got the level paid. You lit the fuse, now you feel the heat back and didn't expect the clap back. Clap back, you was big talk, baby. Tiny in the booth, all caps on line, no case in the truth. Heard you running little laps for my name on your tongue, but your statements bounce back. Insufficient funds, I don't chase, I just started from less. Every dollar on the ledger, every paper reflects. You perform, I perform, number two on the scene. Certified, verified, petty, up, pristine. Yeah, say it with your chest, not a burner page. On the headline, you the common rage. You press send, I press save. Guess who's looking great today? Prima donna, I'm the race queen. You wrote the story, got the screenshots plain. You get the post, now you get the feedback. I didn't expect the clap back, clap back. Prima donna, I'm the race queen. I got the time since you got the routine. You lit the fuse, now you feel the heat back. I didn't expect the clap back, clap back. Thought I stay quiet, thought I stay nice. You play cheap games, now you pay full price. Clap back, prima donna, I'm the race queen. You wrote the story and the screenshots plain. You get the post, now you get the feedback. I didn't expect the clap back, clap back. Prima donna, I'm the race queen. I got the time since you got the routine. You lit the fuse, now you feel the heat back. I didn't expect the clap back, clap back.
What's up, Miss Lady T, Miss Wendy? How y'all doing?
They wrote headlines like they holy scripture, cracked up the frame till it fit the picture. Pull that curtain, told us what to see, but we were in the crowd, we remember every scene. They spin stories till the spin get dizzy, call it justice. When the mad forget, they try to paint them as a ghost as a sin, but the songs cut deep, they lived in the skin. Yeah, we can't fake in a courtroom trial. They killed truth with a crooked smile. We were there, we were more than you. We ain't moved when they told us to. The king of R&B will return. Say it loud, let the whole world learn. All the sin, all the lies they do. We remember what we know is true. They try to take us down, make us fall. But the fans take fire in the cold. Prima donna, don't stand tall for the throne. 'Cause we on the right side of history. Yeah, they want us fractured, blind and distracted. Argue in the comments, never see the tactics. Headed up clips till the cut look clean. Then we feel like a broken machine. But I've seen hurt in a man's blue eyes. I've seen grace and stage goodbye. Saw the falls, and we still so hard. You can't fake that part, you can't fake that part. No, we manifest, scream every chant, every tweet, every late night prayer. When we barely sleep, you can block one count, can't block what we feel. You can smear one name, can't kill, can't wait, we will return. We say it loud, let the whole world learn. All the sin, all the lies they do. We remember what we know is true. They try to take us down, make us go. But the fans take fire in the cold. Prima donna, gonna stand tall for the throne. 'Cause we on the right side of history. Yeah, look janky from the outside, baby. But faith in this side, far from lazy. We the ones that they label extreme. 'Cause we ain't trade truth for a trinity. So write your blogs on your late night. battle. We the lifeline in the song hero. Every stream is a seed. If you know, then you know. If you know, then you know. Keep the light they try to take us down, make us fall. Let the fans take fire in the door. We were gonna stand tall for the throne. 'Cause we on the right side of history. Yeah.
I'm good, Miss Wendy. I'm good. How are you? How are y'all? I don't know who taught these people this bootleg ass reverse psychology game they be trying to play on this internet. But I just think it's funny. Let me just wait a little bit minute. Wait.
I'm calling, yeah. They love the pen when I wrote for them that ain't brand new. Say never sing along. Play those tracks like play that man, turn the volume up. Now they claim they moved on. They from the pain that they wash their hands. Try to bury the name in the sacred sand. But the song still lives in the hearts that know. You can say my love, but you can't say where you go. You can't keep now. You still believe. We've done it, but we can out on everything. You can pour, you can play, try to sit down. But you can't touch the hope that we're talking about. When they're saying what they dream of, yes, you can't hear my mind. You can't know the truth. You say hush up, girl, say his name like they've been built mansions on train. Flowers back, left a thorn in place. Now they throwing stones, trying to hide their face. But I won't fold just to fit that script. I won't trade my voice for the politics. You can watch me stand, they won't be gone. 'Cause a real fan love never turns on and off. Don't kill the king now. Still believe. Breathe the dark, don't feel loud. On everything. You can pour, you can play. Try to drown it down. But you can't touch the whole thing we're talking about. When they say what they scream against, you can't say my mind. You can't know my truth. They can drag my name, but they can't drag my choice. You can bend my face, but you can't bend my voice. If my love was sin, that's just more about you. I'll be writing down what we're living through. Get the king out, you still believe. Prima donna, go speak it out on everything. You can point, you can blame, try to drown us down. But you can't touch the heart that we're talking about. What they scream against, you can't say my mind, you can't say my truth. I'm still calling.
What you said, Miss Wendy? What you said? I think that's what be throwing the people off is because if you've been following me, you would know that the purpose behind me documenting all the things that was going on, all the things that I was being subjected to, is so that when we review it, we could have these hindsight moments. Because let's just go back to this character you see on your screen right now. Everybody know how we fell out, because I've already said it ample times, because of the janky shit, right? So in between the janky shit involving R. Kelly, there's these performances on YouTube, right? These people that just feel like their opinions outweigh everybody else's. Their opinions is supposed to mean anything to people who have their own opinions that might not be on the same accord. Kind of like some of these people who came in to help R. Kelly, who may or may not have been given the impression that we, the people, had to come out here and do this and do that and do this and do that. And we would ignore the people with common sense saying, hey, people, we do know this is an open investigation. Hey, people, I am a blogger. I'm not getting involved with this, not getting involved with that. And it's just funny, we see this pattern of behavior with all these people, even those on the outside. Let's just hypothetically pretend like they don't know nothing about nothing. They just went and participated in this, supported this person. They don't know nothing. Let's just pretend that it's the fact. Well, I give them the benefit of the doubt when I speak, so I can downplay the things that is going on and just blow it off with, these motherfuckers dumb, these motherfuckers stupid, these motherfuckers slow. I can say shit like that, right? And that's my opinion. But when people on the outside who have ignored why I formed that opinion want to give an opinion, that's when people get a little bit thrown off. That's when they confuse that they don't speak for the people. Even if people on their respective channels are in alignment with the things that come out of their mouth, that ain't got shit to do with other people's platform, other people's stance, and what everybody else is here observing, right? Let me just get us a proper introduction. Let me get us a proper introduction before I get it cracking. Cause we still on the same shits. So I'm gonna give you a second.
She wants attention. All eyes on Moose. Little Moose. Papoose. She need validation for her degradation. I see you chasing you. When you come for the queen, don't you ever miss. I'm the realest thing you ever seen. Don't you ever miss. Don't you ever miss. Don't you ever miss. Zima is the goal, YouTube is the road, but you're just a troll. Little Moose, stand down, no stand by. The truth's a lullaby. When you come for the queen, don't you ever miss. I'm the realest thing you ever seen. Don't you ever miss. Don't you ever miss. Don't you ever miss. Exposed, people's intentions plain. Game over, you're feeling the pain. Don't you ever miss? Don't you ever miss?
Didn't you hear me say back then, when you come, don't miss? Yeah, EJ, still bullshit. But the bullshit, in my opinion, I'm going to just keep it like this. I ain't even going to speculate. We're going to just keep it like this. People need to find them some content. They out here scrambling, trying to figure out, what do I do? What can I do? Listen, this ain't it, boo-boo. This is not it. Because to perpetuate this narrative to the people that Prima Donna would be mad about anybody's opinions, how anybody sees any of this, what this person says, what that person says, and we keep ignoring what Prima Donna has said, that's when I think, no, something ain't right with these people. Because we're going to take it back. Everybody should start to realize that when I do uploads, it might take a little bit longer to reach the people that watch me, right? When people do these lives, it gives a different viewership. So when I do the uploads, people might not have seen this particular video that I'm about to play. But first, before I play it, let's talk about why I made the video. Because it's just strange to me that every time somebody says something, now we got people in their opinion saying, why don't Prima Donna get mad about this? Or why don't Prima Donna speak about this? Or why don't Prima Donna call this out? Or why? And why can't it just be because I'm a grown-ass motherfucker? And if I don't want to speak on shit, if shit don't make me mad, if I don't give a fuck about shit, what makes people on the internet thinks that giving their opinion is going to change that? So to then distort in the past what made me mad, watching all of this stuff affect the man sitting in jail, while these people want to sit on the internet and give their opinions. That's what blew me, especially when the attorneys themselves knew R. Kelly was surrounded by a lot of crazy ass motherfucking people. And that don't necessarily mean in his direct camp. That just means what I said. Crazy ass motherfucking people. People out here that want to masquerade like they have such good relationships with him. They have connections with people around him. This and that, this and that. That's always been the theme in this whole sector that has turned me off to a lot of people. So just imagine when they start bringing me janky ass shit, especially when it came to them damn sisters. And we all know how I felt about that. But did that stop anything that further happened after that? No, it did not. So I could give my opinion on the shit that was going on that affected R. Kelly, and people can give their opinion on how I perceive it. What does that mean? Does that mean I'm going to get mad? Does that mean that I'm going to sit back and let people try to exploit my image, my likeness, because they want some views, because they're irrelevant? Because even the people that was around them marching the streets with them say they serve no purpose, as you saw on the screenshot previously. They wanted to make Prima Donna feel so irrelevant to what they had to put out here on display. But they want to skip that I just watched all these people turn on each other and had the audacity to wonder why I'm looking at all of them like the damn fools that they are, especially when nobody made them do the shit that they did. Nothing. But let's watch this video that I uploaded. And let's then react to the video that prompted this live, because the moose over there know exactly why I'm coming for her, because she's not going to play with my likeness. I don't give a fuck what she say over there on her platform. She can leave that same motherfucking video up. I don't give a fuck. She can think I'm mad. But the message is, pay attention. I'm not R. Kelly. Let me say it again. I'm not R. Kelly. Okay? I don't have crazy motherfuckers around me like this. And if I choose to support some motherfuckers online, I don't give a fuck about nobody goddamn opinion. Somebody make this shit make sense. Now, it's just always funny to me when I see certain posts and I see other people trying to be funny. So let me help those who watch me who also see the things that the animal zoo be trying to spin with their posts. So let me help the moose over there. Because so the video she put up in response to this video is, Prima Donna, why do I have to spin whatever she said? Let's see if y'all peep the game and what I'm saying about spinning these narratives compared to what you finna hear me say and the stupid ass shit she gonna have to rebuttal. And to be honest, I ain't even watched the video because they so goddamn predictable. We're gonna watch it together. I just then pursued to what I was thinking. That's what I posted. I watched what people sent. Took note. I watched her then try to come out here and say, yeah, I knew you was going to report the video. I got a copy. What the fuck? What does that mean? You knew exactly what I would find. You're going to have to fix. But you still give your opinion. But you're not going to play with me in my image. Okay? She and I both know that sis doesn't get pissed about a damn thing beyond my control or my concern. I don't care what nobody says on their platforms. And I can support whomever I want for whatever reason I want to with no explanation to no stupid ass zoo animal. I speak on those, like the zoo animals, who act slow like they didn't know that I could find whatever I wanted to funny that didn't have a damn thing to do with R. Kelly's charges or the interference that I put on display. Now, they could propose all the questions and theories that they want. They could get on there and record their stupid ass self talking about Don the Muscle should sue me, which we'll get to later in this video, because clearly none of... Hold on. Are we picking it up already? Now, as I'm speaking, we running through facts that people always want to skip around. They don't want to react to the facts of when the attorneys was disassociating certain people that they came out here and championed. That was a problem. They had a right to their opinion. I don't give a fuck. Even now, when we see Don Russell whining about his motherfucking inability to pay this settlement or this lawsuit, we got the people who was out here championing him talking about, I'm mad about their opinion. These people could stick to the topic at hand, but want to always find a reason to hate on those who could both see the shit that they're doing and stay on topic at the same damn time. Like right now, the conversation R. Kelly supporters should keep the focus on is his fight for a new trial and why we believe he deserves a new trial. And in the midst of me pointing out the things that are on display, I can do both, unlike some. So that's what's funny to me, considering they always want to act like it's their concern what I find funny, why I support Dana and don't fool with them. Why does it matter? Why would I care who wants to talk to weirdos, who thinks this and that about this person, who wants to talk about this and that, who wants to speculate about this and that and confused that we all got different opinions and I don't give a fuck about nobody's but my own. The fuck? So let's address the elephant in the room, because I also put on display how all these people feel some type of way because I don't call Dana out or I don't come out and speak on this and that. When again, I've said too many times, why don't people leave him the hell alone? Why they keep going over there trying to befriend him, then come out and try to expose him and then distort why I view it all the same? These people batshit crazy. And I ain't gonna keep explaining why a bitch sitting over there ain't got no room to talk about no Dana J. When she been beefing for years about shit, they act like they don't even know. One say it's about a man, this one say it's about jealousy. It's all stupid when the topic is fucking R. Kelly. The fuck?
But she said did outside of rooms with other girls.
Good night, EJ. My bad, I just seen your comment.
Hanging out that they weren't the top of the line girls, but they were just girls he had fun with. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, when he would come back, we would play games like musical chairs. And musical chairs was everybody walk around a chair, and the last girl without a chair would have to go in the room with all the rest of the girls, engaging, activity with him. So I'm like, okay. I'm still listening to it like, okay, this is all horrible shit. So anyway, she's like, so I did that for him for years, like the little games like that, and she's like, and when I got older, she was like, I had to stop because I was old too old for her. That she had a daughter, and she had started moving forward with her career in real estate, and she realized she wouldn't benefit from being around her.
Now peep it. The same way you seen these people getting all mad and huffy and puffy about my observations about Dunn, the muscle, the same way they want to keep always figuring out why I don't say nothing about this and that Dana says and speculates about. Why the fuck would I care if I keep saying if it did not affect R. Kelly's case, if it did not affect R. Kelly, people's opinions are not my concern. That would be equivalent to me giving a shit about these motherfucking zoo animals arguing back and forth, exposing each other for years about some goofy ass shit that again ain't got a damn thing to do with R. Kelly. They didn't have to engage in, that I find fucking funny, and that ain't nobody gonna sit up here and feel like I owe them a justification. What the fuck? Now my observations are very clear. I focused on talking about and pinpointing the things that I believe played a role in the interference from both sides that were more relevant to sis than some Sesame Street ass childish games that they play, knowing they never had to focus on anything except giving commentary on R. Kelly while hating on the people like me who can both speak on the shenanigans and the case and the interference that should be equally investigated like they were so-called investigating R. Kelly. I perceived all the things they were doing, blending it in with bullshit, just as I said. And they get mad because, again, they don't want people to speak on all of the stuff that they engaged in, while they want people to shift their focus on shit that they don't like. Clearly, what's funny to us is the fact that faceless characters have no value to me and never had. Why they put all this goofy shit online is dumb, as I've always said, and obviously, from my perspective, they can't say a damn thing about nobody, and I've said this for years, considering they put more attention on the bullshit than what they supposed to be here talking about, giving commentary. Yet the gag is, some think that because I intentionally don't speak on them till they try and give an opinion over here that nobody gives a shit about, that changes why nobody takes them seriously, trying to maintain how independent they are, running the same narratives from the slow while thinking I have any control over anything anybody wants to talk about on these fucking platforms, considering I don't give a shit about Flower Pot, the fish, the moose, the monkey, the moose, the snakes, the mussel. Fuck all them, because it's moments like this that show me exactly why they mention me, because I don't give a fuck how they feel when I'm going to keep pointing out the fact that they put themselves right dead in the center of things that should be investigated.
I'm Prima Donna, and this is Prima Donna News. I cover the stories everyone's sharing, trending, and talking about. Your daily dose of viral news. Be the change you want to see, and never be silent.
I don't need a light to get poppin', but these bitches in my business coming out to choosing violence. If you see me out in public, you don't know me, keep it silent. In the bedroom, I be screaming, but outside I keep it quiet. You know what I'm saying?
This is a national advisory. When scrolling through the YouTube sectors, please be advised. Do not feed the zoo animals.
Now, clearly, when we get into this part, this is a re-upload. Because again, you see how I just have to keep saying the same shit. And they're going to be like, Prima Donna just keep saying the same shit. Because y'all just keep coming out here saying the same shit. But I'm just going to replay what I said. I ain't going to keep fucking repeating my goddamn self. Because y'all slow as hell to think you just going to keep coming out here. And then when I say what I say, you want to give your opinion of it. I tell you my opinion of what you just said about me, and this supposed to be a back and forth shit. Man, get the fuck up out of here.
And I'll say it twice. I truly do hope that a Don Russell get hold to your shit and sue the fuck out of your bum ass.
Well, send it to him then, bitch. And while you're at it, see if I give a fuck. And while we at it, let's also think about all the times when I tried to stay out the commentary you were giving with your shit shows and told you to leave me out of it. How many times I told you to leave me the fuck alone and you didn't give a fuck, now did you? So what we ain't gonna do is act like what I ain't gonna do is get my shits and giggles at your expense like I told your stupid ass.
You country cornfield, children of the corn ass bitch.
Children of the corn? Interesting choice of words. Damn, you sound mad, One Wet Moose. Continue.
Leave me the fuck about your fucking journey. I say what the fuck I want to say, and you and ain't nobody else gonna do a goddamn thing to me. Nobody.
Oh yeah? So go look in the mirror and repeat the same shit. Cause what the fuck you think you gonna do to me when I told your ass the same shit and you didn't want to respect my wishes, so fuck it. We just gonna be getting our shits and giggles all motherfucking year, bitch.
You sour puss looking ass bitch.
I know you fucking lying. I know this West Eden Gilbert grape looking ass bitch ain't say what?
Leave me the fuck alone. You knew you wasting time. You got documents and shit. Is that right?
No, Angie. No. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about no motherfucking documents which your stupid ass can't read. Maybe that's what you should have been doing all this time instead of thinking I was gonna keep ignoring all the shots and then sit here and watch you get all mad because now you know that I ain't finna let my foot off your stinking ass neck, bitch. And the drag is, while you all huffy and puffy and mad, I'ma be just like this.
Boo, Prima Donna.
Now let's break this down for the people who's late to the party. Because clearly, I don't give a shit about people's perception as much as they'll sit out here and worry about mine, then make these remedial videos acting like I personally get offended about other people's perceptions and perspectives when clearly I've demonstrated and documented from the very beginning of when I started to notice people putting way too much energy on people that they once associated with, once watched on these platforms and then started to go from platform to platform, taking the focus off of R. Kelly. Now, that's one topic. But to also start to witness how things were starting to take precedence and interfere with R. Kelly's due process, that's another. So to disagree with people's opinions about the case and to disagree with people's perception about things going on, none of that is relevant to me when I also told everybody watching me, do your own research. Do your own groundwork when it comes to understanding what's going on, because all of these orchestrated shit shows people put on display all these years, they clearly have no position to try to tell me anything and or inquire about why I support certain individuals as a person, which has nothing to do with R. Kelly, considering my primary focus was against those who were deliberately interfering with R. Kelly's due process, whether you called yourself an op or a supporter. Didn't matter to me, and it didn't matter to me who wanted to come out here and put all their speculations on the screenshots. Now, pause. Clearly, what people distort is the fact that when they see me and Dana J speaking on certain things, again, I have maintained my point of view is limited considering I wasn't on the phone with these janky ass people, wasn't meeting up with these people, didn't go to no janky ass rally hosted by these people, didn't give a shit what they did in general. But when somebody like Dana was a party to certain things and he comes out and give his explanation to this or that, you can believe it. You can say he's a liar. It don't fucking matter to me. But what we ain't gonna do is keep this same degenerate ass cycle of thinking that because Dana say something, prima donna agrees, and or vice versa, when we two goddamn different people, the same way R. Kelly and Don Russell are different. Let that shit sink in, because a lot of people was out here wasting time talking about Don was the muscle when they could have took their goofy ass to the paperwork and figured out why people like me could sit here and watch them champion him, who have the same rights to vocalize their perceptions and perspectives the same way they feel like they can give their reactions to all the information other people put out here when they failed to read the paperwork themselves, trying to chastise me, talking about what I need to go read. You do it. It don't take a genius when you sit back and you listen to even Snitch 9 tell you that in the past he was out here beefing with R. Kelly's so-called inner circle. He brought that shit on these platforms, and what we saw were the dominoes falling, and y'all could sit out here and pick whatever side you want to, and you can selectively ignore how it affected R. Kelly, and then you can skip around why Don the Muscle still got his goofy ass out here whining about the judgments against him when he should have sat his goofy ass down somewhere, and all them people worried about my perception of it all might have should have advised the advisor to shut the fuck up. Clock it. Do you enjoy fresh, soft-baked gourmet cookies? So, let's ponder on this. Do it sound like I'm mad about an opinion, or did I just state what it is in response to an opinion made about me? Let's figure this out.
Put on display how all these people feel some type of way because I don't call Dana out or I don't come out and speak on this and that. When again,
now I just started this video. You see where she chooses to start. You see where she chooses to start when I start speaking on Dana J. How ironic.
I've said it too many times. Why don't people leave him the hell alone? Why they keep going there trying to befriend him and come out trying to expose him and then distort why I view it all the same? These people batshit crazy, and I ain't gonna keep it.
Sounds like means of entitlement. That's what it sounds like to me, prima donna.
See this stupid shit? How the fuck that sound like entitlement? How? How? Do we even chat? Do we need to finish listening to this stupid shit of her giving reaction to the video I just made? And she just gonna skip everything I said to zone in on this part. And then the first thing to come out her yuck mouth is, seems like entitlement to me, prima donna. It seems like to me, bitch, you're crazy as a motherfucker. Cause the same shit your stupid ass do, you get mad when the fish over there do it to you. So I'm trying to figure this shit the fuck out, cause who's mad? I think I said it's funny at this point because the damage is done. Now, when it comes to the commentary, my video clearly says where people's focus should be. You skip that part, though. That sounds like entitlement to me, one wet moose. We need to keep listening? Or should we move on to the content that's more relevant? Should we move on to the content that's more relevant, or should we continue? Because she already know what's finna happen. That's why she made that last post. She already know what's finna happen. Y'all say move on. Y'all want to see the content? Because on topic, like I said, if we didn't have people out here doing the most with all their opinions, and they could have stayed on information, whether they felt it was factual or not, they could have did their own fact checking when it comes to the information at hand. Because had R. Kelly had a defense in court, we wouldn't still be talking about this shit on the internet. I wouldn't still be having to indulge in the opinions these people put out here and feel entitled to just put it out here and get mad when they get a reaction. But let's talk about it. Because again, the main focal point from the Chicago trial was that tape, right? You had the news broadcasting. All the other witnesses weren't too credible. What's up, Chris? What you miss? Yuck mouth, the moose, think I'm mad about her opinion. And she put that she already knew what was going to happen when she created this thumbnail. Because she can have her opinion, but like I said, you're not going to play with my likeness because you want some attention. So she played some of my video. She skipped all pretty much the point of the video. She zones in on the Dana J part and then had the audacity to tell me that her opinion is that I feel entitled because of what I said that she wanted to skip around. But moving that on to the side, we going on into the content. The people said, move on. We ain't focused on the zoo, per usual. I just have to come out here and put that on demonstration because, again, these people distort the fact that their audience and my audience, we ain't on the same accord. They over there doing the shit shows, the shits and giggles and all that bullshit. The bouffale, as the bitch always want to say. But we over here, we're more focused in on what's going on with the case, the points that people ain't talking about on these platforms when it comes to why we don't believe R. Kelly's guilty, that type of shit, right? So I did another upload the same time I did the upload she wanted to focus in on because they always overlook. Even when I do respond to them, I'm going to get right back on my points that they want to skip around. So in the Chicago trial, let's focus on this tape. Let's focus on all the red flags that I presented before the trial. Let's focus on the fact that a whole lot of key players were missing out of that trial. Let's focus on the fact that the attorneys are saying they have suspicion of misconduct and a whole lot of things that we would agree was allowed to interfere with R. Kelly's due process, right? So this video, let's go.
I'm Prima Donna.
What the heck just happened? Hold on.
I'm Prima Donna, and this is Prima Donna News. I cover the stories everyone's sharing, trending, and talking about. Your daily dose of viral news. Be the change you want to see and never be silent.
I never thought of me, I like to get it poppin', but these bitches in my business coming.
Know who Jim is.
And I'll say that.
Know who Jim is. He's the one who the tape got sent to, right? As in the R. Kelly, as in the original R. Kelly tape. It showed up in his mailbox.
Have you heard I Admit?
Yes. No, actually, I haven't. I refuse to listen to it.
Jim DeRogatis or whatever your name is.
Oh, he
you
called you out.
me for 25 years now. Yeah, I got a whole fucking verse. I got a whole verse. I got no career except for him, he said.
He called you.
Now, he know damn well he ain't had no whole goddamn verse. He said what he said. He told us good people what we needed to hear. And some of us had common sense to go and look up and get to the bottom of what exactly R. Kelly was insinuating with his words.
You out.
Yeah, boy, was that an interesting morning. You wake up and there's 150 Twitter things at 6 a.m. Hey, D-Ro, R. Kelly's dissing you by name.
But that also speaks to the point that we're making. I think if R. Kelly was a rap artist, or if R. Kelly was a mainstream pop artist, folks would deal very differently with who R. Kelly is, right? Because it's R&B and the audience is seen as primarily Black women, it has not warranted the kind of attention, really until now, that it's deserved for 20 years.
Y'all want to find something funny? Because all these years I watched these people try to make me a conspiracy theorist because they didn't understand where I was getting a lot of the information and how I decided that I would give reasonable doubt to all the narratives that were being pushed by the likes of the individual we're going to cover in today's video.
Now I'm gonna park that right there. And I can't pull it up on my screen. I don't know what's wrong with YouTube on here. I can only get on my studio YouTube. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm gonna play it on my TV. This was an upload Dana did 6 years ago. You can go look it up. It's called Sparkle's Revenge on R. Kelly. And he was talking about the very point that I'm making within this video, because for years, we've all talked about exactly how this video started. This man telling us, good people, that he received the R. Kelly tape. And we are to believe that this is supposed to be CP. They skipped the part that he made copies of this tape. They skipped the part that, as we're going to find out, even while this man was going through his trial, he's sitting here contacting the prosecutor on a burner account. Then he gonna come out here and say the prosecutor never responded. But yet that don't change the fact that he was sending unsolicited information to said prosecutor. So what said prosecutor did to build on her case with said information, we would never know, especially when so many pieces are missing from this damn story. Like this.
R. Kelly trial, written and read by Josh Levine. Sparkle's Revenge. If there's a life lesson to be taken from the R. Kelly trial, it's that when you're trying to help your niece launch a music career, perhaps it's best to widen the search for mentors beyond the man who sings, "It seems like you're ready," and I like the crotch on you. On the stand this afternoon, Stephanie Edwards, aka the R&B singer Sparkle, says that she introduced the alleged victim to Kelly when the three of them met up in the log cabin to watch the Chicago Bulls in the NBA Finals. Depending on whether this was the Bulls' 5th or 6th championship, the alleged victim would have been either 12 or 13. A basketball player herself, the girl was jolly, personable, and a little tomboyish. Kelly, Edwards says, liked her spirit. This suggests a possible song title for the clean version of R. Kelly's greatest hits, I Like the Spirit on You. Stephanie Edwards' 2 hours of testimony are a reminder that the cliches of the televised courtroom drama aren't entirely fanciful. As she remembers her niece's personality, Edwards, her hair up in a tight bob, gold hoop earrings dangling down to the top of her long neck, a dash of sparkly glitter applied neatly above her left cheek, dabs at her eyes, and one of the sheriff's deputies in the room brings her tissues. Defense attorney Edward Jensen, too, performs like a man in search of a camera. Jensen, who looks like an unkempt sheepdog, but questions witnesses like a flesh-hungry pit bull, presses her to admit that she was intimately involved with the production and distribution of the sex tape, including scheduling a screening for the girl's parents. Sparkle says that never happened. You have no idea why they'll testify to that? Jensen asks, immediately withdrawing the question as the prosecution objects furiously.
Y'all heard this?
For the first half,
Y'all heard this? Y'all heard this? A private screening of what they say is CP. Like all this that people don't talk about. Just crazy to me.
hour or so of cross-examination, Jensen gathers details to support the defense's little man theory. He asks whether...
And P.S., the little man theory, where do y'all think I got there from? If you go look in my video, I don't know, I might have unlisted it because they out here trying to figure out ways to strike my shit. But I'm going to go back and look. But I specifically did a video called The Little Man Defense. And a lot of people failed to look at the relevancy of those videos early on is because I was looking at the defense that was put on in R. Kelly's 2008 trial. And then I sat back knowing that, hey, this is the premise of the charges stemming out of Chicago. Even when it became a federal case, this is the primary focus, right? So you would think that his attorneys would be focused on that. But then as time passes and you come to the realization, his attorneys out here on platforms talking about he's not going to be able to overcome the tape. Let's think about how they ran this script. Last trial, they was banking on the tape, getting their conviction. But they realized that, no, that's not going to work. They're going to need the victim to come forth. Now, let's pause there. You got people out here feeling away because some of us just refuse to believe that there's going to be CP still available on this World Wide Web. So when you can just go and readily go and still see this, you can go look up R. Kelly sex tape and you can still see these so-called images from the tape that they're claiming is CP. Something just not adding up, right? That would be common sense. So the more digging you would do on your own, not just watching people on YouTube get their fucking opinions, if you go and do your own research, you will start to unravel the many red flags surrounding this and why a lot of people would just brush it off. R. Kelly was in this tape. Never mind he's saying it wasn't him on the tape. Never mind, we always be the first ones talking about we're always guilty until proven innocent. But you're going to have this man attorney going to court talking about the prosecutor's got to prove his guilt when he's already been publicly crucified. Of course, you're going to have to defend this shit. What you mean? But that's neither here nor there.
She knows how many of the hours and hours of footage typically shot for a music video are never used. She has no idea. How many different...
Let me think. If I hear him speaking on this, all the hours and hours of videos of R. Kelly, and you got people out here that allegedly manipulated said infamous tape, You got people out here on record saying the person that stole the original tape wasn't in the tape that was presented at trial, and they made sure of it. You got a whole lot of red flags that pop up in between all these people passing these tapes around, even coming up to 2019, when the man just mysteriously found one while he was looking for basketball tapes. That is so ironic.
Videos Kelly has made over the years, a lot, and how many videos the alleged victim's much smaller time musical group starred in during its career. She says 2 or 3. Jensen next establishes Sparkle's motive, a bitter musical divorce. After her self-titled album, released in 1998 and produced, written, and arranged by Kelly, was certified platinum, Edwards expressed a desire to work with other producers. This did not sit well with Kelly, she acknowledges, and the two of them parted ways contractually in 2000. Over Jensen's protestations, Edwards insists that she and Kelly still got along personally at this point. He was my homeboy, she says, though she also admits that Kelly withheld royalty payments and claims that he still hasn't paid for her decade-old album. A short while later, Sparkle started talking with record exec Barry Hankerson, Kelly's one-time manager and now bitter enemy. Jensen asserts that Hankerson and Kelly are foes.
You hear what the defense was saying then? She parts ways with R. Kelly. She complaining about her royalties. She go over here and link up with Barry Hankerson. Somehow, the narrator gets an anonymous videotape in the mail.
Though he admits the fact that Kelly's child bride, Aaliyah, was Hankerson's niece. Upon leaving the singer's employ, Hankerson wrote a letter to Kelly's record label saying that he needed psychiatric help for his compulsion to pursue underage girls. Jensen.
You recall Demetrius Smith coming out saying he went to the execs and told them he got a problem. Never mind all his many statements saying that he never saw this and that. He was told this. All hearsay type of information that he spoke on. And when it comes down to it, R. Kelly is charged with alleged bribery that he allegedly did.
Then, with his voice raised to a near shout, tries repeatedly and futilely to get Edwards to admit that she got calls on her cell phone from Hankerson and that they talked about their common enemy. Was part of the deal doing something bad to Robert? A frothing Jensen asks. When Sparkle says, "Of course not," he repeats her words back sarcastically. Jensen leaves it to us to put all of this together. Let's give it a try. Frustrated with her declining musical career, and perhaps resentful of Kelly's astoundingly successful one, Sparkle hatched a scheme to extort her rich ex-mentor and to turn the words of her hit song Be Careful into reality. "You better be careful what you do to me," she's saying, "because somebody might do it to you." While Kelly was out making beats one night, perhaps...
So y'all remember, or maybe you don't, Dana J repeated something very similar to what the narrator just said. And everybody had their opinions on it because Dana J said it. But they didn't take the time to motherfucking go see where it came from before they gave said opinion.
She enlisted a pair of underemployed porn actors to bust into the singer's log cabin and film themselves, having sex, peeing, etc. Meanwhile, Sparkle and Hankerson harvested outtakes from Kelly's copious back catalog of music videos, then took advantage of the thriving black market and little man quality digital effects wizardry to Frankenstein together Kelly's face and the urinator's body. Sparkle.
Ain't that a bitch? I made that shit the fuck up. That's what they said. I'm making up conspiracies, is what they said. instead of exploring the reasonable doubt from all the information these people had already put out here, it didn't make no sense. When you have the defense who had their theories about how this went, everybody want to be in opposition because they think it's R. Kelly on the tape. And they want to march the streets to show the people that they support R. Kelly. And they want to confuse the people on the internet that see the plays. However they want to spin it.
Cole's motive for putting her niece in the video is less clear. For the sake of argument, let's assume that she was mad at her for, say, borrowing her glitter without permission. After Kelly refused to pay to keep the video under wraps, Sparkle sent the video to the Chicago Sun-Times, willing to make...
After R. Kelly refused to pay for what these people say is CP, she sent the alleged CP to the Sun-Times. So again, we already getting into why the first thing when I start uncovering the paperwork is, why ain't the chain of custody being questioned? Why this? Why that? I could give a whole lot of opinions, but it started out from questions about shit that didn't make no sense pertaining to the case. Now, side note, R. Kelly being charged for obstruction. The narrative, R. Kelly paid off all these people. He paid off this, he paid off that. Oh, the money ran out. That's why all this stuff is coming out now. But when we come out and say this is a shakedown, this sounds like a money grab. And then you had individuals who helped push a lot of these narratives to this day, keep coming out here talking about. They out here balling. They out here balling. They might want to put some shit back. Might have said by the food stamp scam artist. Yeah. Yeah. They think they cooking. They think they cooking, Midas. They really do. But the gag is, who's always way ahead of them when it comes to the information? Why they want to come out here and keep talking about their opinions.
Her niece collateral damage to disgrace the man who'd done her wrong. The defense, of course, doesn't have the burden of proving that any of that happened, and Jensen does create a few slivers of doubt about Edwards' story. Sparkle says that she first learned of the tape in December 2001 via a phone call from a lawyer named Buddy Something. Her choice to omit...
Now, when I came out with the screenshots of the information from said person, Buddy Myers, the attorney, mentioned, and he said, I ain't had no, don't put me in that. Again, the story starts to unravel. Fast forward, let's go to the trial. They finally get the girl up on the stand, and she turned around and say, my auntie told me to do this. She told me to sit on his lap and rub his head. Skip on to New York. Miss Azriel was being coached to do the same thing. Sounds like a play to me. Yet, when it came to all these people who just wanted me to keep coming out here, even speculating on people sending in Azriel, people sending in Joycelyn, I don't do the speculating. Y'all do. Because even if they did, again, whose job was it to get the information into court to defend the actual charges?
If the man's last name, it's Myers, by the way, comes off a bit stagey, like she's trying too hard to act like she'd never heard of or spoken to the guy. A couple of lingering questions. How did Myers get the tape? And why would Myers first contact the alleged victim's aunt, a woman who happened to have a failed working relationship with Kelly, rather than contacting the girl's parents? Near the end of her
Well, you see how that flipped? Because I thought it was said.
testimony,
Hold on. Oh shit! Hold on. I done messed up. Hold on. I thought it was said that Jim DeRogatis got the tape, and he reached out to Sparkle, like, ain't this your niece on the tape? But now they tried to throw it off, kind of like they be doing on this internet amongst each other when they be doing this fuck shit. Yeah, they tried to throw it off by saying, oh, this attorney got the tape, and the attorney reached out to the aunt. But then when I provide the information that the attorney said, that ain't what happened. Why the fuck didn't they get Sparkle in the courtroom while she on the internet tweeting and shit while the trial going on? Hello? Why didn't they make Jim DeRogatis testify? Fuck that Fifth Amendment freedom of press bullshit, because how the hell you gonna go from being a music critic to this rogue ass, janky ass 007 agent trying to investigate some shit that you should have let the police handle because you trying to break a story, huh? The fuck out of here.
Edwards cocks her head to the side with a quick snap, finally unable to hide her annoyance with Jensen's unrelenting inquisition. The defense attorney, perhaps noting the change in the witness's mood, shifts into theatrical overdrive. Jensen tries to get a rise out of Edwards by shouting that it's not Kelly on the sex tape. The conversation devolves into a testy exchange over whether the girl on the tape is or is not a prostitute, and whether or not we're all here today because Edwards is after Kelly's money. "Sweetie, I am not trying to get any money with this," says Edwards. Rarely has a term of endearment dripped with so much disdain. "I am not your sweetie," Jensen states for the record. With the witness and lawyer playing the dozens, Judge Gahn steps in to break things up before they get out of hand. Jensen, however, won't stop talking, and now it's Gahn who's ready to rumble. "Mr. Jensen, you're not listening," he says, a military man, clearly irked with having lost control of his troops. From the beginning, Gahn has been determined not to let this trial turn into a circus, going so far as to speak with court officials involved in Michael Jackson's trial.
Now that y'all have the holes that's in there and everything else, and y'all have the truth, are y'all still gonna ride with R. Kelly and Aaliyah was married? Are y'all still gonna ride with R. Kelly is guilty? Or are y'all gonna look at the facts to see R. Kelly was set up by Sparkle, Barry Hankerson, and the other people along?
Now that's clearly Dana J, right? Now, when it came to that setup, that was specifically pertaining to the tape. When it came to what we saw playing out, that's a whole nother ball game. Because my opinions is, like I said, it would benefit people more if they sacrificed the golden goose than let all of their improprieties be exposed. That's my opinion. These people on this internet don't give a fuck about why they do the shit they do. Done said that too many damn times. Midas, you said it. They fucked up when not only did they flip Azriel, but everybody wanted to, again, turn a blind eye to the red flags I started to point out. When you had Surviving R. Kelly coming out, and you had these people going overboard, exposing RL. Up until that point, a lot of people never knew who this girl was that they were saying was in this tape. Right? Am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong? Up until a certain period, nobody knew the name of this girl that's supposed to be on this tape, except probably the people that claimed they knew they were from Chicago and they knew this and they knew all that shit they want to say because they from Chicago. But as far as the internet, the world, we didn't know Rashona Landfair by name. We always heard the story, Sparkle's niece. So the initial red flag that I began to speak on was how these people came out exploiting her story, calling her a predator, calling her parents a predator, pushing these narratives. She was recruiting girls. Y'all recall all of that, right? Fast forward, you come to the realization that she was putting money on R. Kelly's books. She was still in contact with him, even after surviving R. Kelly, still in contact with him, asking him for his advice. But we are to believe he was coercing her. We are to speculate how their whole situation began because of the allegations surrounding it all. And people want to discuss moral conflicts with the fact that, was the law broken or not? Can that be proven or not? Has always been my stance. So it sounded like to me, exactly, Midas, witness intimidation. So let's come on into the picture. When I had fans coming to me, knowing so matter-of-factly Rashona was testifying, I still held my reasonable doubt. I wasn't going to believe it until it happened. So when it happened, that's when I then proceeded from that point. When the paperwork comes out and says that there was an inappropriate relationship between Boss Baby, aka Rashona Landfair, and the prosecutors, that would give more insight to, not just insight, but a confirmation to what I suspected as my opinion, that some shady stuff was going on to get this girl to cooperate. Because as I mentioned earlier in the video, they knew from the first trial that tape alone wasn't going to get it. They needed the witness to cooperate. So not only, in my opinion, was there a flip of Azriel publicly, but there was also a flip of Rashona Landfair. Now, a lot of people just feel like, okay, well, if he did this, it doesn't matter. He's guilty, right? What about the reasonable doubt? And what if he isn't guilty? What if he didn't? Why can't we have honest conversations on that note without people coming out? You support a pedophile, you this, you this, you this, you this. And then the supporters, they too busy want to get their opinions about stupid shit. Let's get back to the video, because I wanted to put in Dana's video, because a lot of people be wondering why I rock with Dana, because when he's on topic, he brings valid points. When he brings valid points, that feeds content. Content. While they too busy trying to make characters the content that they will not do with Prima Donna, that is the message the Moose is going to get from this video. Because I be good goddamn before I sit on a live for hours and hours talking about a bitch I don't give a fuck about.
Stay tuned, because you're going to begin to see some of the same things he was going platform to platform discussing, the same things he spent decades writing about, and the same things that people that look like us came out here perpetuating as though it were the truth, only to find out we were all being played. And some of us decided we were going to speak against the lies, while others decided they'd go along to get along. You dig? Today we are revisiting a controversial chapter in the R. Kelly saga that many supporters argue never received enough scrutiny. According to a reporting that surfaced in 2002, questions were raised about communications between former federal prosecutor Angel Cruel and longtime R. Kelly reporter and author Jim DeRogatis. Reports revealed that emails had been exchanged through a burner account linked to the prosecutor while the federal investigation was ongoing. Critics immediately questioned whether those communications created the appearance of an improper relationship between a member of the prosecution team and a journalist who had spent years publicly advocating against R. Kelly. The controversy didn't stop there. DeRogatis was not simply a reporter covering a developing story. He had authorized books,
appeared in documentaries, publicly commented on allegations before proven facts were revealed, and became one of the most recognizable media figures associated with the accusations against R. Kelly, and people skip around his direct involvement. Supporters argue that he helped shape public perception long before a jury was ever seated. Adding another layer to the debate, court proceedings later touched on questions involving DeRogatis and materials connected to the case. Critics have pointed to reports that he possessed copies of alleged evidence and note that legal disputes arose over whether he could be compelled to testify. During litigation surrounding those issues, he invoked constitutional protections rather than providing certain testimony as quick as he was getting on these platforms giving interviews, fueling further debate among those who believed his role warranted greater examination. Meanwhile, years before the federal trial, documents and articles show that some parents of women associated with Kelly were already communicating concerns with DeRogatis. One example frequently cited by supporters involves communications from Joycelyn Savage's parents, who reached out to him years before the highly publicized Mute R. Kelly movement gained national attention. Critics of the prosecution. Now, we see how this is coming into fruition and how this main person, Jim DeRogatis, who fueled so many stories, as Midas also put in the chat. BuzzFeed. If you go look up BuzzFeed, you will see that they sponsored a whole lot of R. Kelly slander. And you have people that look like us that came out here and piggybacked off of the shit he put out here. And I have opinions of those type of people, but that's irrelevant, right? It's irrelevant. The fact of the matter is simple. How this shit all kicked off again. Some people reached out to them parents, the Savages, the Clarys, told them their daughter was a sex slave, part of this cult, this, and that. From there, we go from a cult to a RICO enterprise. We skip all of the digital footprints and how, as I mentioned in the video, when they hear this is going on with their daughter, the first thing they come to do is reach out to the person who spent years writing stories about R. Kelly, a music critic turned investigative reporter. They reach out to him. He puts them in front of TMZ, in front of one of R. Kelly's homes, talking about he's holding hostages. They create this big outcry with the public. This man is holding hostages because they want to get around the fact that if you go and report an adult woman missing, if you go and report that an adult woman don't want to talk to their parents, the law can't do a motherfucking thing about that shit. So when we watch these parents who came to the public and they only selectively gave their stories, so they activated an army of people who started to look into their stories, which prompted them to come out here and start trying to prove this and prove that. And then they got to exposing every goddamn so-called alliance they formed. They started exposing a lot of these bad act witnesses. They selectively wanted to discredit most of them once they realized they ain't the stars in the story. And now on this internet, after all that work they did, they want to diminish the value in flipping Azriel in New York. The significance in the New York trial being prosecuted first, setting the stage for the Chicago trial. Huh? You want to act like if you were to remove Azriel Clary from that RICO, that they would have had a valid timeline for their janky ass presentation of an enterprise that they weren't prosecuting. The same people, the bus driver, the managers, the assistants that they put on the stand as the prosecutor witnesses, in my opinion, should have been prosecuted, right? That would have sold the story. But then when you can go into court and you can instruct the jury, well, the enterprise doesn't necessarily have to be criminal. Well, hold the fuck up. You told the public this man's whole 30-year career was trafficking minor girls. You got the whole world thinking this man is a trafficker. You got the people who want to come out here and give all their opinions so comfortable with these janky ass $2 pimps, these so-called splendor daddies, these low budget ass niggas on these internet streets who thought they was gonna come for the realest motherfucking voice on this platform in this sector because they don't like certain things that I say. They don't like the fact that I say they could have did their own research and came to the same conclusions that I did when it came to the charges. Therefore, they would have been able to deliver all of their opinions about the charges. The irony of it all is you want to lock R. Kelly up for trafficking, aka pimping, while everybody appeared to be pimping him, in my opinion. The fuck? Even the people that came out here acting like they supported him, that confused. This wasn't my purpose, in my opinion, to stay on this topic all these years. But who else was going to? Let me know. Let me know. Because as hard as they was going from platform to platform spreading the bullshit, they could have been equally on every last one of these motherfucking big platforms that's fueling the bullshit. You want to have the fucking audacity to put a video up talking about the viewers respond, or whatever the fuck you said, including the viewers, as though your audience speak for the internet, your audience speak for the world. But y'all motherfucking ass ain't have a goddamn video for all these motherfucking channels that have slandered R. Kelly's name, that have misappropriated his story. Huh? Trying to make this shit make sense.
Prosecution argued that these early contacts demonstrate that an organized public campaign against R. Kelly was taking shape long before he entered a federal.
Hold up. Might have said, I thought Kells would be out after Avenatti was caught. Why would he? When nobody pushed that connection, while he was being convicted twice for extortion, people wasn't focusing in on his efforts in the R. Kelly case. As Snitch 9 just recently said, that Pimplo fooled Avenatti. Like Avenatti wasn't looking at this whole situation as he said. It was easy setting up the golden goose.
Mute R. Kelly movement gained national attention. Critics of the prosecution argued that these early contacts demonstrate that an organized public campaign against R. Kelly was taking shape long before he entered a federal courtroom. They countered that media narratives Activist efforts and public pressure combined to create an environment where Kelly was effectively judged in the court of public opinion before facing a court of law.
But Kelly never made a secret. What was the title of the album he wrote and produced for Aaliyah?
Age Ain't Nothing But a Number.
It was there in a very Dostoevsky crime and punishment way. He was announcing his crimes, and perhaps, if you want to play armchair psychiatrist, something I always resist, perhaps saying, catch me if you can, stop me if you will. You know, famously, after the acquittal in 2008, he does an interview with Touré. Touré asks him, do you like young girls? And he takes a serious moment and he says, how young we talking?
Do you like teenage girls? When you say teenage, how old are we talking? Girls who are teenagers, 19?
Y'all see how they have spent this all these years. In any other clip, they clip it right there, right when he asked the specific 19 part, which would indicate where his mind was at, as people try to distort it as though he's specifically saying teenage girls, minors.
And let's just look at what's on the screen, because another point that I was also presenting is, if you had noticed, all of the slanderous articles, all of the propaganda, it stemmed from key conglomerates, key corporations that all had affiliations with one another. TMZ, Warner Brother, Lifetime. Just think about it. The $75 million from Jay-Z, well, I mean, the information could be wrong, but according to publicly publicized information, that lawsuit was settled. It doesn't disclose how much. It doesn't disclose if it was ever paid. Who knows? But people on the internet say that Jay-Z protected R. Kelly while he was in jail.
19 and younger. I have some 19-year-old friends, but I don't like anybody illegal, if that's what we're talking about, underage.
Kelly consistently.
Now, didn't he specifically say, I don't like nobody underage, if that's what we talking about? So even as he thought about, he probably looked at this man like, Nick, you know what the fuck you just said. Like, be specific. You know what this interview about. You know what I'm sitting down here facing, and you want to come out here with this bullshit. Then he clarified. But when you seen all these people spinning their narratives, spinning their clips, they always cut that damn part. They always stop at the infamous line as though he's confused. And they never come to the clarification. But you can let somebody like Jim Derogatis go from platform to platform, spinning these narratives. You will see the people that look like us come out here saying the same thing. Yeah, he said it in it. Yeah. But the people who are in opposition are wrong.
In the vast body of his work, was championing an unfettered vision of hedonism that said, I will take my pleasure where I desire with no regard for who I hurt.
I'm Prima Donna, and this is...
I don't know why this is tripping. Y'all hit the like button. Hit the like. What was this video at?
The story.
Hold up.
Locals doing this, right? Giving.
Others, however, maintain that journalists have a responsibility to investigate allegations, speak with sources,
and report information of public concern. But we draw the line over here when you had interviews coming out detailing his involvement like this.
And a year, 10 months later, around Thanksgiving, I heard that there was this videotape on the streets showing Kelly having sexual relations with this young woman of 14 or 15 years. We had heard that there had been a relationship, and we had tried to do some reporting on this.
Y'all heard this shit. Y'all heard all these different stories. He's the man who received the tape. Now, in this interview, he's saying he had heard there's this tape circulating, and he started doing his investigation. He a music critic, though. But he heard there's this tape out here on R. Kelly, and he started investigating. But he ain't got to testify.
This woman, we had talked to some of her relatives, we had talked to her family. No one wanted to talk to us. And then one day I'm at home. I work at home because she can't sit around and play loud music in the Sun-Times offices any more than we can here at BEZ, which is why we're in these editing booth cubicles doing this, right? I got a call that said, go to your mailbox, click. Hung up, and there in the mailbox was a manila envelope with nothing on it and a videotape inside that showed Kelly having sexual relations with an underage woman. Certainly appeared to be that.
Now, you heard in the previous audio from Dana's video, the previous defense had pretty much said his theory as far as Sparkle sending the tape to Sun-Times. Fast forward, you get Jim Derogatis. He heard there's a tape out here. He get a call. He get a call. Go look in the mail. Ta-da! It's the tape. Let's pause and see what information came out during the trial, because an individual who wanted to portray himself as the private investigator back then, even though we all know who R. Kelly's real private investigator was, Jack Palladino. Well, the man who was trying to extort R. Kelly and also sued R. Kelly for not buying the damn tape back or not paying him for his so-called work getting the tape, he was allowed to be used to get on the damn stand, get his immunity, and testify to some bullshit instead of being prosecuted, which was my opinion. According to Jason Meisner, I think that's how you say his name, not quite sure, he had tweeted during the trial that Freeman told the grand jury he found the videotape in the man's house after looking through a bunch of videotapes in the house. What man's house? What man's house? Because you got a man over here talking about he had a tape he thought was basketball. He watched the tape and he just go MIA. Remember, Michael Avenatti said he had 4 people he was representing. Remember, these people got 4 proffers in Chicago to get this man arrested with the premise of that infamous tape being included. Now, Freeman said it had a label on it that said the girl's first name and R. Kelly. Freeman said he didn't say that like that, even though it's written down. Freeman told the Cook County grand jury that he figured out who had taken the tape by calling one of Rob's employees who heard that a man had the videotape and was showing it to people in Atlanta. A lot of information. A lot of information to be in these screenshots that all you got to do is stop it, pause it, read it, then maybe people would take an opinion more seriously if it's more grounded on the information that's more relevant than the opinions people formulate. So essentially what I'm showing you, Charles Freeman, he essentially got a get out of jail free card. And that's just not my opinion. Let's see what John Sentinel, another reporter, tweeted. He said, Charles Freeman is disgraceful. You don't have to like him, but he tells jurors they have to view his testimony in light of all other evidence in this case. So when I start speaking to the effect, when people say that these witnesses, they act as evidence, right? And when you hear the news report on all of this evidence that they had, and a lot of that evidence is witness testimony, and they want to skip the part that all of these witnesses ain't credible, ain't worth a damn. That's why, in my opinion, they needed all of these people to paint this story. Don't take a genius to recognize why this shit looks stupid to me. And I'm not an attorney, but common sense would be those who study the law and hear the opinions, the perspectives from the people who support R. Kelly, instead of trying to diminish why we don't believe he on the tape, dismiss it as a conspiracy, ignore the defense that the previous attorneys from 2008 presented, ignore the fact that the defense from all of this shit dropped the ball on so many different levels, from the chain of custody to these witnesses allowed to them complaining, talking about the prosecutors were withholding key evidence, to even now it being implied that evidence was being withheld that could have helped the defense. All violations of the law that people act like they give a fuck about. That is the shit that pissed me off. Because if you were unbiased, you would be able to come out here and give the prosecutor's theory. And you could also come out here and look at the previous defense compared to the defense that was being presented, or lack thereof, and give an unbiased opinion as to the misfire in that. You ain't even got to involve the characters. You ain't even got to involve the YouTube shit. That's what gets me. The extortion that I always speak on. Let's just figure out if I made that shit up too. Or did the opinions that I put out here from my perception come from the information that other people could have focused on? Like again, Jason Meisner came out with a tweet from the real private investigators' memos from the 2002 era. And their caption, R. Kelly extortion, and described messages from Freeman purportedly left at Palladino's office saying, I'm going to show you how to get fucked. But the memos also offer more evidence that Freeman did indeed have an incriminating R. Kelly tape. But does that mean that it was a minor on said tape? When you have Keith Muriel, who was also a party, who said there was no minor on the tape. When you have the manager, Daryl McDavid, saying he didn't know nothing about no abuse. When you got other reporters who were documenting this in real time, who were saying Charles Freeman was contacting the press, trying to get interviews and shit in real time while he was trying to shake down R. Kelly. All points that the prosecutors conveniently skipped around as they presented their version of how they wanted to present what they believed happened all those years ago. and can only substantiate primarily with witness testimony and a tape that they archived. And now, even though the 2006, 2008, whatever year it was, report came back and said that the female could not be identified, we supposed to run with the narrative that was put out on public domains. They have crystal clear footage. They have new footage. They have all these tapes. They got 100 devices and all that shit. When they had to revert back to that old footage. Something about the evidence that they were given. Oh, it don't play. And that shit just went under the radar. How do you get evidence? You get to court and you get to talking about it doesn't play. The fuck? So with that being said, if you get to hearing all those missing elements in the story, does that not sound like extortion to you? A shakedown from you? All these people, from Sparkle to Keith to Chuck to Lisa Van Allen to Barry Hankerson, all these people had an agenda. So let's play devil's advocate. Let's say that they knew this and that, and they were scorned by whatever, and then they decided now we're going to expose R. Kelly. And people just going to skip by. Wouldn't that make them complicit? Shouldn't they be charged? Why weren't they on the stand to testify? Oh, because that would throw off the prosecution's case, huh? You don't want to put people on the stand that's going to throw off what you're trying to present, huh?
We argue that the communications uncovered never established that prosecutors provided confidential evidence or improperly influenced reporting. Regardless of whether people stand with R. Kelly or against him, the questions remain part of the broader debate surrounding the R. Kelly prosecutions. Was this the proper relationship between reporters and prosecutors? When does investigative journalism become advocacy? When does so-called journalism becomes interference? And can years of media coverage impact the presumption of innocence that every defendant is supposed to receive? Those questions continue to divide observers on the case to this day. Now, with all that you've seen in this video, from the information this guy revealed about the infamous tape to his spin on how he felt about R. Kelly and Aaliyah's relationship, to all the stories he compiled from these so-called bad act witnesses that we saw being exposed on these very platforms. It doesn't take a genius to know that all these people that wanted to act like they were here to pursue justice only made an ass of themselves because of the hypocrisy they put on open display. There's no way you could pursue justice and leave all of these empty holes in these storylines and not demand these people who were involved in the stories to get on those stands and stand on everything they've said on these public domains. Yet, I'm supposed to be the blogger who's supposed to care about other people's opinions, perceptions, and blatant lies they got on these platforms spreading all these years. I can't make this shit up.
Attorneys for one of the defendants, Daryl McDavid, filed a bizarre motion in court today. CBS 2 investigator Megan Hickey joins us live now. And Megan, they're claiming the former lead prosecutor used a burner email address and a fake name to communicate with a potential witness.
Right, Joe and Erica, the motion filed this morning claims that.
Now, again, all this was in real time, 2002. You didn't see none of these motherfucking people coming out here giving no opinions on what the news was putting out here. No. No. They only want to focus on what people on YouTube say. how they could figure out how to attack what they're saying instead of going and figuring out why they need to do their own research. Because if more people were speaking on, hold on, you got the prosecutors got this a burner account. They communicating with the key witness. They getting unsolicited information. You got people on the internet talking about we sending shit to the prosecutors. And as we sit here and observe what's going on, we can't do nothing but scratch our head and try to figure out. If they knew, as Greenberg said, they knew these charges was coming, you would think they would have went back and strategized how to implement some of the same defense strategies that the previous defense put out here, right? Wouldn't you think that? Instead of coming out here under the, I don't even know what you would call it, but you would come out here and give credence to the accusations from the tape to Aaliyah, just all of it. And that's not a representation of an ineffective defense. Even if you take out all the people who was doing the most on the internet playing with the defense, trying to hire and fire people from the defense, bringing on the people they want to bring on, bringing on a janky ass private investigator who didn't do a goddamn thing, but still got paid. But got a whole lot of opinions about people like me who don't get paid to do anything at all, but will come on here and give my perception of my work and a rebuttal to anybody that want to give an opinion about anything that's irrelevant to my points.
Prosecutor Angel Krull used the name Demetrius Slovinsky and a private Gmail account when communicating with Jim DeRogatis, the journalist who first broke the story decades ago that R. Kelly was allegedly sexually abusing underage girls. But DeRogatis tells me nothing improper happened. The motion was filed in federal court by Daryl McDavid's attorneys. McDavid is singer R. Kelly's former business manager, and he's been charged with helping cover up Kelly's alleged crimes against young girls. The attorneys say it wasn't until this week that they were made aware of communications between Assistant United States Attorney Angel Krull, the former lead prosecutor on this case, and journalist Jim DeRogatis. AUSA Krull called herself Demetrius Slovinsky and created the email account with the username Pied Piper 312. The conversations took place in April of 2019, which was before the indictment in this case. The motion calls DeRogatis.
So before the indictment came out, he's sitting over here contacting this prosecutor. So how the fuck would he know her burner account? I'm confused. She just said she just said this communication happened before the indictments came out. How in the hell did he know the prosecutor's burner account? Not government official account. That means a fake account. And people wonder why when it comes to a lot of these people giving opinions, these avatars, these people who I don't personally know, I could give a flying fuck about their opinion because I don't know who behind these profiles. For all I know, it could be them motherfucking people. Agents of chaos, provocateurs, trolls. It don't matter what you want to call them. At the end of the day, the focal point should have been this janky shit. And it started with these people involved with the stories, the allegations, the charges, not YouTube. So whose fault was it the people from YouTube jumped all in the mist?
A potential witness because of his direct involvement in the 2002 R. Kelly
Good morning, Wild
investigation.
Bill.
Megan, I have never
Thank you,
shared
Andy.
anything with anyone, prosecutors or defense attorneys or sources, that hasn't already been published.
DeRogatis confirmed that Krull used the fake name and
You hear what he said? He hadn't shared anything that hasn't already been published. So you see what I'm saying? When I start building my content and I was aggressively coming in opposition to all the titles, all the clickbait titles, all the stories they were putting out here deliberately in my mind, that was my focus. Always been my focus. But the distractors want to come in and take my focus from that for whatever reason. Right? That's crazy to me. He's telling us the blueprint. They put all this shit out here publicly. So then you could just kind of act like you had nothing to do with this. You had nothing to do with that. You can give these stories to these people. You could act like I didn't do this. I didn't do that. You could sit by and watch these people interfere with this man's due process. You can act like it wasn't me. I didn't make these people do it. And the people still sitting out here acting slow. You know what they say, you keep repeating the same things over and over. Who's brainwashing who? Nope. It don't say when the judge is supposed to respond. That's why, again, we got to keep the focus on the points. Because from my perspective, obviously, the defense is just trying to open the door to get the new trial based on a legal argument, right? So my mind is on expounding on information that the public needs to be aware of. All these missing holes from that trial. We do recognize that Daryl McDavid's attorney, who got his client acquitted, is now representing R. Kelly. And even though I have my opinions on a lot of the shit that has gone left, I have to also keep an open mind that we all know how the legal system works. Many of us know how the legal system works, and many of us have experience with attorneys. So if something is going wrong behind the scenes, that could give insight to why the attorney was poorly performing. If he does have an agenda, I've already pointed out my opinion that it's an obvious conflict for so many reasons. Yet it still don't change the fact that at least he is associated with a person who has a lot more information that could bring in new evidence. So what do you think is more important to supporters? I would think the focus is all of this type of information. Even the people that want to act like they have connections with this person and that person. They want so much credit for doing shit. How about do the right thing? These so-called accusers, they got their little restitution, their settlements, whatever they got going on. Who knows and who cares? All those great Christians out here, you would think they would be prayerful that maybe they would wake up, especially people like Azriel, who may feel used in this situation, considering all them people that was acting like they was supporting her done turned the goddamn back on her. What happened to all them people that was out here? I support you. I support you. It's easy to act like you supporting these people because you want them to help you fulfill an agenda. But what if, hypothetically, they want to recant some of the things that they played a party to? What if, in accordance to what Bo put in his paperwork, Rashona Landfair perhaps may want to recant some things? The point is, the conversations can be expounded on. The information is still valid. People automatically assume because they got their guilty verdicts, that would be the end. People will just stop talking about it. But as I said, even in the beginning of my research, my whole opinion about the Mute R. Kelly movement was it was all dumb, considering that was never their agenda. It was all strategy. Same way they strategized those charges. Now, the question is, what is going to be the strategy to vindicate R. Kelly?
Private email. He said his book Soulless, The Case Against R. Kelly was a few weeks from publication at the time. He has no indication that he will be called as a witness in this trial, and a court spokesperson tells me that Kroll left their office in 2020 and is no longer associated with this case. Quote, the fact that this information was known to the government for years and only disclosed to defense less than 2 weeks before the trial creates, at the very least, the appearance of impropriety, which needs to be investigated, attorneys for McDavid wrote. DeRogatis doesn't believe the filing should have much of an impact.
I think it means.
So it seemed like for a while, the attorneys have been saying pretty much the same thing. That the way these prosecutors were maneuvering, it deserves a second look. As far as R. Kelly's defense wanting an evidentiary hearing pertaining to this leaked and confidential information, again, same thing. We keep hearing the defense put in writing in our face. This is what's going on. The last video I'm going to share, because I spoke on it earlier in the video, I'm just going to play a little bit of it. I'm going to go back and see if I have it unlocked or not. It depends on what I see in the video, because like I said, they scavenging through my videos at this point, trying to find shit to strike, but wonder why. You goddamn right. If you think you're going to play with my likeness, you a goddamn fool. Hell no. It's war. You're trying to come from my channel, whomever, not putting it on any specific individual. It's war around this motherfucker. That's just what it is. You say whatever you want to say on your platform. You are not going to use my likeness to do so.
Lie to you. Facebook, lie to you. Radio, lie to you. Radio, fuck you.
Hello and welcome to my channel. Go ahead, hit that like, hit the share. Make sure your notifications are on all and get ready to let's explore this little man's defense. Because the difference between how journalists reported on certain things in the past versus how they oversaturate the media today with slanderous and scandalous headlines, it's quite obvious that they are intentionally trying to present R. Kelly as being guilty before he has faced his trial.
Now, Midas mentioned Michael Avenatti again. Where was the outcry when Michael Avenatti took his goofy ass to CNN with this so-called CP and showed it to the people, and the people come out talking about they couldn't identify whether it was a minor on there or not? Didn't nobody create no outcry to that? How we just gonna be out here showing so-called evidence? Like, what type of shit is this? I just gave you the clip from Dana's video of the audio of what was being reported from R. Kelly's defense from that period and the introduction to the little man defense, which is what this video is about. And if you recall, so many people tried to come for me as though it was a conspiracy that I just made up, talking about there was no AI back then. Who the fuck said AI? You can go down the timeline of when people were able to manipulate videos and photos, and you could apply common sense to recognize, just as the audio implied, there were so many images and videos unreleased of R. Kelly. There was the theory that images were superimposed to videos. You got people openly admitting to tampering with so-called evidence, manipulating it, taking shit out. How would they do that if they didn't edit the video? Huh? But nobody wanted to stick to the focal point, like I said, chain of custody, as they gave their opinions.
With slander Kelly as being guilty.
Images clearly on the internet. Red flags. You telling me this is supposed to be CP? You go on the internet and you see all these images. You see these people aggressively pushing their stories. And as I mentioned in this video, the difference between the media coverage in the past and the media coverage that I began to document is they weren't aggressively portraying his guilt in the past as they were now. Well, from 2019, from all that 2017 period, you were seeing all the disgraced R&B singer, all that shit that came. That's what I'm talking about as far as the type of coverage. I don't know what the shift was, but at some point you had people doing real unbiased journalism. Even if they felt some type of way, you still have to give an unbiased commentary about it. Versus fast forward years later, they're putting it all out on the table and how they want the world to perceive this man.
Before he has faced his trial. So let's just take a look back at this defense that was used back in his first trial. Because as I pointed out to you in my video, The Missing Links, I gave you the individuals responsible for this janky tape that they.
Now, mind you, this, what I put together, way before the trial. Way before the trial. So people like, how did Prima Donna know this? And how did, again, because I wasn't watching these people in their propaganda and their opinions. I was doing my own research, uncovering a whole lot of information that a lot of people should have been more focused on than playing with these witnesses that they knew were witnesses, these people involved in the case, the defense, antagonizing individuals, sitting back, listening to these people. I'm sending this to the prosecutors. I'm sending this to the prosecutors. And even in real time, nobody caught what I just put out here on the table. That Jim DeRogatis, the main source of a lot of these stories, who had a key involvement with this so-called tape, talking about he reaching out to the prosecutors before the indictments hit, while he was out here trying to push his book, but he somehow magically got the prosecutor's burner account. Not real account, burner account, fake account they use. The fuck?
Put out. And if you're following the paperwork in this new trial, they have made hints about these same individuals being involved with alleged obstruction of justice. And it's funny that they're not being charged with bribery. But anyways, people fail to realize just how easy they could have made obstruction.
Not only bribery, but extortion. So going back, once Lisa Van Allen exposed the Keith and Chuck dynamic, and I researched that, and then I get to the Damon Pryor, then I get to the Adelina Prado. Do you think I would waste years of my time trying to imply who I think is on the tape when the clear objective of me presenting my research is to demonstrate why I don't think it's R. Kelly on the damn tape? Because why the fuck would I be focusing in on the female when there's so many stories that could have been studied as far as the implications surrounding the females associated with the stories? Better yet, why would I focus in on the female when they're alleging that the female is supposed to be a minor? So as far as the people who wanted to come on YouTube and show the video and do this and do that, and now are looking through my videos trying to find specific screenshots of Rashona or who they claim is Rashona, even though it's my opinion, is a image that is superimposed. I ain't gonna go into the speculation of that when people want to again skip around all of the key points that have been presented that would give reasonable doubt to the manipulation of their so-called evidence, period.
Of justice. And it's funny that they're not being charged with bribery. But anyways, people fail to realize just how easy they could have made this tape. And contrary to what these articles have said about how hard it would have been to manufacture these videos, well, if you have the programs and you know how to do this, they never said it was impossible.
Look at there. Back then, I addressed what I was speaking on when I was talking about the manipulation, because people acted like it was so impossible to manipulate these images, manipulate their so-called tape, skip around that people would also, when they say I watched the tape, it was skipping from scene to scene, it was this, it was that, it was so blurry. But then you got Michael Avenatti, the key extortionist. Oh, I got crystal clear image. How the fuck you just gonna come up with crystal clear image 20 fucking years later, unless you done did some enhancements or some extra shit to it, motherfucker? Make this shit make sense.
And when you know the fact that this capability has been around for a long, long time, it's not far-fetched to believe the defense that was used then can still apply today. Considering images we've seen posted clearly indicate some deception and some manipulation with this alleged sex tape that Crooked Avenatti has presented.
Now, y'all remember when Avenatti was representing Geronda Pace and certain individuals was putting out information like this. If you see on the bottom, they try to say, have you ever wondered who the R. Kelly tape, who the girl on the R. Kelly tape was? Her name, Geronda Pace. You see the bullshit they was putting out, all that at the beginning. In my opinion, that was before they knew if Rashona was going to testify or not. So they was throwing out there other people was on the so-called evidence that they claimed they had, trying to throw off the fact that they was sitting here banking on the same motherfucking shit that this man was acquitted of. Period. That's all my opinion was about on that matter. So when you get to the trial and you come to the realization another Jane Doe thought she was on the tape, does it make sense what I'm saying? So hypothetically, how would I know if people wasn't sitting out here in the midst of trying to shake down R. Kelly, out here reaching out to certain people, talking about you on this sex tape, we got a tape that you own, and this, and that. And then people coming in voluntarily saying that I'm on the tape. Come on now. I can't make this shit up. Then when Michael Avenatti get caught, then she want to pop the fuck out. Oh, I'm no longer being represented by Michael Avenatti. Well, no fucking shit. But back to the same point that I made, why do victims need a fucking attorney?
So let's take a look at this article that lays out how things went down in the 2008 trial when it comes to this little man defense, considering we already discovered the facts that Sparkle played a role in this extortion, Barry Hankerson played a role in this extortion, and so many others had their...
Y'all seen that? Like I said, I could have gave my speculations, but again, refer back to Dana's video, and you hear the connection between Sparkle reaching out to Barry Hankerson and Jim DeRogatis getting this anonymous tape in the fucking mail. I could speculate on a lot of shit, but all I know is them three motherfuckers should have been in that motherfucking trial on that goddamn stand trying to make this shit make sense for us, the people who's supposed to believe this story instead of the shit the prosecutors wanted to present. Simple.
Many others had their hands in this.
How the fuck people just gonna skip by if I told you way before the trial Lisa Van Allen wasn't no damn minor, which they let her get on Surviving R. Kelly talking about she was 17 and all that fuck shit. Again, narratives that they allowed. When it came to R. Kelly having a body double, that's a fact. When it came to people impersonating R. Kelly, that's a fact. So when it comes to these janky ass people who were allowed to come out here and perpetuate all these stories, who the hell said we got to believe them when they should have been prosecuted, especially her ass?
Let's talk about it.
Sparkle's revenge. If there's a life lesson to be taken from the R. Kelly trial, it's that when you're trying to help your niece launch a music career, perhaps it's best to widen the search for mentors.
Now let's see how I just did that. Because in real time, like I said, because Dana said it, because Dana presented it, people had to come out here with their motherfucking opinions to discredit it, to come at him, to find reasons to fuck with him. Same shit they do with me now and then try to spin it like I give a shit about their opinions. Now you see where I got this audio. Matter of fact, let me take this off the screen. I'm going to come back and edit that. Yeah, I'm going to come back and edit that. Okay, my bad. I just had to skip some parts because, again, I already told you. They set tripping around here. They set tripping. So I just skipped the part that y'all already heard.
So let's just fast forward past the part of how the evidence that they had was janky. The witnesses that they called upon were questionable. And the fact that these same witnesses have come forward to bring such allegations against this man who weren't even taken serious then says a lot. But let's go to this article that details another witness that many people haven't spoke on. A girl by the name of Samaya Jameson, who claims to have been friends with the alleged victim at the time.
Another issue that they skip around is this age discrepancy. Is she 12, 13, or 14 in the video? All these witnesses have different ages, so my bad. Again, I got to skip some parts. Logging cabin. To that end, the prosecution calls Samaya Punky Jameson, a 24-year-old hairstylist who was best friends with the alleged school. She's a strong witness, composed if occasionally snarky. When prosecutor Shauna Boliker asked whether she and the victim saw each other every day, Jameson laughed to herself before saying yes, like it's inconceivable that it could have been any other way. Jameson said she met Kelly when she was about 13. Now notice also in the trial, they decided they were going to bring a whole new set of friends. A whole new set of friends that was missing from the first trial. I don't know where the hell they was at then, but somehow they came back 20 years later and came to the same conclusion that they were abused as well. And people confused why even the news said a lot of them people were not credible. But guess what? They were there to push their stories, and as they did. The alleged victim's family. After church one Sunday, they all drove to Hoops, the upscale gym where Kelly played basketball. From that day on, Jameson and her friend would visit Kelly on the court, at his recording studio, and in his log-themed residence more than 100 times. While we're on the subject, some new log cabin facts from today's testimony. Along with dogs, the lower level of Kelly's former residence includes a short lap pool and a basketball court with a mural depicting the singer shooting hoops with the Tasmanian devil. From the outside, the red brick residence, which you can take a gander at on Google, looks less like a place where someone might live than some sort of small-time paper mill. His next-door neighbor was an Enterprise rental car. Jameson said she heard rumors of an R. Kelly sex tape during her junior high school. Notice she said a sex tape, not R. Kelly having sex with a minor. According to her, she watched a bootleg copy, which was put out on the streets in between 2000 and 2001. According to her, she watched this in early 2002 and ran home crying after seeing the girl on the screen. She says, "I thought she looked just like my best friend." Let me repeat. I thought she looked just like, not she was her. Okay? The giveaways, her face and her mullet hair. So just rewind this and go back to the beginning, where the same person that are feeding these narratives today is reading how this tape came about and the motive behind this woman making her niece the alleged victim. As far as why, maybe because when they're trying to blackmail this man, and once they come with a sex tape and that didn't work, and then they try to claim, hey, well, now I have a tape with you with a child. If the only child that they could think of at the time in the age range that they needed was her niece, maybe that's why. Isn't it strange how I give you an explanation to my thought process and why they were so inconsistent with these ages, why they were so inconsistent with the dates, why it appeared to me They were looking for an individual who would fit the time frame in which they were pushing the shit. So as I said, it was my opinion, Rashona Landfair fit the perfect age bracket they wanted to put. My thing is, even in the trial, they couldn't get it together with the age. They said 12 or 13. Then when you get into the trial, it gets into the new trial, she gets to saying that she didn't have any physical intercourse with him till she was like 14 or 15. Which is it? 12 or 13? 14 or 15? Which one is it? So I'm going to stop it right there. And I might just go back and edit this video so that I could re-upload it. But the point was, when did I put this out? I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think it was 2020. But nonetheless, that was to go with the video that, like I said, Dana put out. So clearly, the message also within this video is, again, if I watch Dana J, whom these people brought me to because of all the bullshit they was accusing him of, he says certain things that sparks my research. I go research to certain things and I bring my own opinions of it. Do you really think it's going to matter to me what people on the internet want to propose as far as why I don't, why this, why that, want to give their opinions on me when they can get their opinions on the information about R. Kelly? Somebody make it make sense. With that being said, I'm going to end this video. It's 4:24 in the morning. I just woke up and decided, yeah, I'm gonna go on and go live. I'm gonna go on and go live, and we're gonna address the elephant in the room. So I appreciate all of y'all for tapping in. All of y'all that's gonna catch the replay, I appreciate you. Make sure you like the video, share it, hype it up. Go back and hype up the other videos. And y'all have a great morning. Shout out to Chris. Make sure y'all go and stream that Memphis to Atlanta. Go stream it. Go stream it. Go check out my website, primadonnapastries.me. Go check out my other website, freerkelly.info. If you haven't, tune in to my Patreon if you want to get those documents and read them yourself. Other than that, see y'all on the next one.